Hi there, clan, and welcome to Worth It or Not. I'm your host, the Scottish Warrior 92, and in today's Worth It or Not, I'm going to be answering the simple question: is The Last of Us worth it or not? So, The Last of Us. Let's dive right into this. As usual, I will cover a bit of everything. I will cover the story, graphics, characters, sound, and basically what I think makes a good game, a bad game, and answer that question: is it worth your money? So, Last of Us. Now, this game has been hyped for the better part of a year, I'd say. I'd heard about this game a while back. I'm going to be honest, as soon as I saw the first trailer for this game, I was kind of like, this could be interesting. And it's one of the most hyped games by Naughty Dog. It's from the guys of Naughty Dog, the creators of the Uncharted series, and also the people who made Crash Bandicoot. So, yeah, I kind of like them, because Crash Bandicoot was one of my favourite games of the PlayStation 1. I fucking love that game. But yeah. It's from the guys that made Uncharted, but also, for those that don't know, I should have probably grabbed this in advance, but they are working coincide with the creators of Enslaved. I think it's some of the producers or designers from this game that Enslaved, Odyssey to the West, which in my opinion is one of the best games that came out in 2010. And in my opinion, The Last of Us is kind of like a spiritual successor to Enslaved Odyssey to the West, because Enslaved Odyssey to the West didn't do too well. It actually didn't do as well as it could have to get a sequel, and this game kind of screams fucking sequel. So I kind of see The Last of Us as a spiritual successor, in my opinion. It doesn't have anything to do with the same premise or same universe, but it kind of has some similar prospects, because The Last of Us is set in a post-apocalyptic world that's green. Irony, same as this. Enslaved is the exact same concept. It's set in a post-apocalyptic world that's green. Slight difference in the world, but the slight reasons why the reason this is green is because, well, mankind kind of got fucked over. The reason this is green is because mankind has been completely near enough wiped out due to the fact of a parasitic infection. Now, where is this now, The Last of Us universe actually takes... it's very similar to our own universe because it's actually near enough identical in some ways. The only difference is that it uses a disease, a fungal, I can't remember if it's a fungal parasite or just some kind of fungus that is in this world that affects insects, and near enough is the closest thing to making them into zombies. This kind of spore, I think it is, kind of plant-like organism, infects insects and basically grows inside them, makes them go mad, and kind of makes them act like a zombie, and it is very infectious to other insects. For example, I can't remember the name of it. It's a very complicated, long-ass fucking name, but it does exist in this world, and it mostly affects ants and ant colonies. Entire ant colonies have been wiped out due to this thing, and when an ant is infected, the ants actually kick that fucker out and say, screw you dude, you fuck, get the hell out of here. And what happens to the insect after a certain period of time is the infection actually literally starts growing out of its skull. It affects its brain. And that's terrifying. Something like that is terrifying, because if it ever jumped to the human race to be able to infect humans, there's not much we humans can do about it, because it's a 9-year guarantee of death. A 9-year guaranteed death. It's a scary concept. And that's what The Last of Us does. It takes that infection and says, what if it jumped to humans? And that's a good, interesting concept. And I like that. It doesn't take, unlike other zombie games, because this is kind of a zombie game, because that's what the infected are the closest thing I can say the infected are, as it doesn't use some scientific gobbledygook to make up some kind of zombie virus like Resident Evil does. What it does is it takes an existing disease, as an existing parasite, and says, what if it jumped to humans? And what would happen? And that's what I like about it. That is very interesting to me. I'd heard of this before The Last of Us, because I did see a documentary years ago about it. And I think that's where the guys from the Naughty Dog took their inspiration from. Like, what if this jumped to humans? And it's very interesting in that. I like the fact that they didn't just make up a disease out of their head. They took something that existed and made it into there. And that's basically where the world of Last of Us takes place, is what if this thing, this infection, jumped to humans? How would the human race react? And that's the universe that it's in. I'll get to the story in a minute, but I want to talk a bit more about universe. I like this. I really do like this universe because of the fact that it's very similar to our own. And the fact that they have taken that concept of something that exists, that if it was to jump to humans, would near enough wipe us out. In fact, I think there's a scientific thing out there that if something like this were to jump to humans, at least 70 to 80% of the human race would instantly be infected. Not instantly, but wouldn't be able to resist this. Would be infected like that. And that's what I think is very interesting, is that means only 30 to 20% of humans on this planet would not be infected right away. And that's what I like about The Last of Us. It made me think about, why are some humans turning right away, literally without being bitten? Because if you get bitten this universe by an infected, within 2 hours, you're infected. It's a fast-acting virus. Infection, sorry. This plant will literally infect you. And the thing about the infected is, they can't hide like humans. They don't look human anymore, because the longer they're infected, the more plant-like they become. And the creatures evolve. I'll get to that in a moment, but I will get back to what I was talking about. But yeah, if you get bit within 2 hours, you're turned, and it is actually a plant starts growing out of your head, which is very fucked up, but I'll get to that in a moment. And that's very interesting. Like, why is it that it takes a bite for some people to turn, but other people early on? Because if that's all it took to turn, in all honesty, if that's all it took to turn someone into a zombie, if there was a zombie apocalypse or an infection like this in real life, all they would have to do would basically wipe out every infected while they are still a small group in numbers. Because if it takes a bite, you just wear Kevlar. Like, I don't know human teeth that can get through fucking Kevlar. So yeah, in all honesty, if a zombie apocalypse like that happened here, the government would just wipe out everyone who's infected and near enough kill it off very quickly. If they caught it early enough. But this infection, and here's what I think about this in my head, with this universe, I think that this disease, this infection, some people... Sorry, so I think my fire alarm was going off there. Something's beeping. Oh, sorry, mate. Some people in this universe get turned within the first couple of hours of this infection. Like, literally it talks about it right at the start of the game that hundreds of people, thousands of people have turned already. And that got me thinking, why did those people turn and other people it takes a bite? And that made me think about this. This is just my mind. Is that in this universe, the spores, this is what has actually caused the infection, is the spores of this parasite, this plant-like infection. It basically, the spores are the reason that this infection spreads so quickly, is because that some people just don't have the resistance to the spores and actually can turn. I think in this universe, some people, not a lot, the people who can only be turned by biting or inhaling enough of these spores. And that's what I think is the major factor in this game, is that not everyone can be turned by the spores. It takes a lot. Some people, it takes more spores to infect them than others. That's my opinion. That's just what I was thinking in this universe. I thought in this universe, why didn't everyone turn? If this infection spread by spores alone, the human race would have been extinct within the first year, because that's how quickly these spores could have moved. But in this universe, not everyone did. And this is the way, because when an infected dies, they actually don't, the infection doesn't die with them. The infection continues to grow out of them and produce more spores. And I'm like, spores? What the fuck? What the fuck? The spores would have infected everyone. And I think, and when that... No, I'm rambling here, aren't I? Fuck, okay. Sorry about that, but I just love the way I'm thinking about this game, because that's the way I'm thinking about it, is that not everyone can be turned by the spores. It takes a large amount of spores to get infected. Some people, it takes a small amount. That's the way I'm seeing this universe, because it just got me thinking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for rambling there. I'll move on to the worth it or not, but I found that really interesting. I might do a whole video on that. I'm not too sure. But yeah, that's basically the universe, is that... That's basically what I've rambled on for like 9 minutes talking about the universe alone, but I just love this universe because it's very interesting. So we'll move on to the story. I don't want to stay too long there because I was rambling on like a motherfucker. I do apologise for that. But the story of The Last of Us is a story that is not a story that you've never seen before. It's a story that you have seen over and over again. I've seen it over and over and over and over and over again. I've seen it done bad, I've seen it done good, and I've seen it horribly, horribly portrayed. And the story is, it follows the character of Joel, who is a survivor. He's not a hero, he's not a good guy, he's a survivor. That's basically it. He's a survivor who gets contacted by a resistance movement known as the Fireflies, insert Joss Whedon joke here, who basically are fighting off the remnants of the military, the government that still exists. And these Fireflies hire Joel to basically be a smuggler. Joel is a smuggler by trade. In this universe, he goes in there outside in the world of the infected and smuggles stuff in, because that's what's going to happen as well. There are going to be people like him that are going to risk going out and getting shit to get food, get water, get whatever they need. And that's basically Joel. And he's hired by the Fireflies to escort a girl named Ellie to a designated location. You get where the ideas come from the story. That's basically the story in a nutshell, because Ellie has something very unique about her that I don't want to spoil, because Naughty Dog kept this quite hush-hush. But if you've watched any of the trailers, you can tell that it's kind of spoilery. So, as I said, I can't talk about too much of it. So, that's basically the concept of it. And if just from that alone, you can guess where this story's going. I'm not going to lie. I predicted every single twist in this story. I'm not tooting my own horn here. I did. I predicted which characters were going to survive, which characters were going to die, what events were going to happen, and of course my personal favourite, I predicted the ending. Like, the story is predictable as hell. That's a bad thing in my opinion. It's really, really predictable. I can't lie. It's a story that we've seen over and over again, and it's very stock, very paint by numbers. That's what I say. But the story isn't really the best part of this game. What's the best part of this game are the characters of Joel and Ellie. I'm going to go talk about each character individually. Joel is a survivor, as I said earlier. He's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's a survivor. That's his whole concept, because as we progress through the story, we find out what happened to him. At the start of the game, I shit you not, something that no parent, because Joel is a parent, should have to do happens. Okay, he has a parent, but I don't want to go into it because it kind of spoiled. Because Naughty Dog done a really good job of not spoiling the start of this game. They didn't spoil a lot of the story at all. The trailers were perfect for that. But what happens at the start of the game is something that is very traumatic for anyone in Joel's position to go through. I don't want to say what it is because it's a major spoiler in my opinion. But Joel is very desensitized after that. He's a survivor. He's admitted in the story that he's killed innocent people for their shit. He has killed people for food, clothes, water, you name it, he's killed people for anything, to survive. He's a survivor. He's not a good guy. He survives. That's his whole concept. That's his whole principles in life, is to survive. That's it. And that's what I like about him. He's not a good guy and he's not a bad guy. He's a survivor. And we learn as Joel goes on through the story a bit more about his past, a bit more what happened during the 20 years from the start of the game to the end of the game, because the game actually does jump time. It actually jumps about 20 years from the start of the infection to, I don't want to say where it goes, but it goes that, and it actually does jump seasons up. I'll get to that. I don't want to talk too much about that. But yeah, that's basically Joel in a nutshell. Ellie, on the other hand, is a child of this world. Ellie has never known the world before the infection. She's only 14, 15 by the end of the game. When she's in this world, and it's been 20 years since the infection, so Ellie's only known this world, and it's not a nice world to grow up in. She's lost her parents, she's lost her friends, she's basically alone, and that's something that she's this character that has always been alone. Like, she even says it in the game that the thing she's most terrified in this world is being alone, and that's her character. She's very desensitized as well. She kills people. She will kill someone if she has to, which for someone 14 years old is not easy to do. But in this world, it's a necessity to survive. So Ellie's a survivor as well. She's not as desensitized to the world as Joel, and of course, you can guess what's going to happen. The two of them are going to build a connection to each other, a very father-daughter connection with each other. Joel doesn't want this because of what happened to him, but he can't help but build a strong connection with this girl Ellie, and it's vice versa. And that's what's done well. That's the characters. Joel and Ellie's characters are done amazingly well. The character of Joel is voiced by Troy. I'm sorry, I don't want to get these names wrong. I'm going to have to get the IMDb up. I don't want to get these names wrong because these two voice actors are phenomenal at what they do. I do apologise for this, but I don't want to get their names wrong because they are fantastic at what they do. So come on, scroll down. There we are. The voice of Joel is done by Troy Baker, who, if you recognise that voice, good on you. He is a fantastic voice actor. He was actually the voice of Booker in Bioshock Infinite one of the best story games that came out this year, and he does an amazing job. He is a fantastic voice actor. He gets everything right. He performs the emotions perfectly, and he's done a fantastic job. Candidate for voice actor of the year, in my opinion. He done an exceptional fucking job on this. Troy Baker is slowly but surely becoming one of my favourite voice actors of all time. He is amazing at what he does, and I give him everything that he deserves. Now, the voice of Ellie is not Ellen Page, by the way. And by the way, Ellen Page throwing a hissy fit over the fact that Ellie looks like her. Come on, Ellen Page. Consider it flattery. But the voice actress for Ellie is actually Ashley Johnson. If you recognise that name, good on you. She's actually a very well-known voice actress and also on-screen actress. She's not mostly known for her voice acting. She voiced characters like Terra from Teen Titans and also Gwen Tennyson from Ben 10. She was also in Avengers as the waitress that Captain America saves. Yes, I know that. I'm a fucking geek. Deal with it. But she's a very well-known voice actress, and she shows it in this game. She is perfect in this role. She does an exceptional job, in my opinion, as this character, and I give her major props for this. She is one of my favourite voice actresses. She does an exceptional fucking job as Ellie, and gets the emotion just right, and Troy Baker and her play off each other exceptionally well. I want these two voice actors to work with each other again, because they've done an exceptional fucking job voicing these characters, and I fucking love them for that. Oh, Nolan North was in this game as well. He was David. I'm not going to say what character he is, but that's awesome. But yeah, they two done an exceptional job. Those are the two voice actors and actually deserve the most praise. Every other voice actor does a good job as well, but Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson done an exceptional fucking job, and I highly suggest that you give these actors more money. They've done an amazing job. Sorry, I'm going to close this now because I'm going to be looking at the entire cast at this rate, but both of them done an exceptional job, and I fucking loved it. I really did. They've done an exceptional job, and I've got to give props to Troy Baker, because a clan member contacted me and says that Troy Baker actually done a really good southern accent, because I feel the pain for a lot of people from the south in America who always get that generic, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. That wasn't south, that was fucking, I don't know, yeehaw, doggy, a cowboy, that kind of accent. That kind of accent is always portrayed by the Southerners in America, and I feel their pain as a Scotsman, because Scottish people don't get the Scottish accent in most movies, games, and all that is always that stereotypical, you take the high road, and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye. I feel their pain, because we always get that. It hurts a lot to hear that voice, the Scottish accent done like that. Because this is the Scottish accent. This is my accent. This is a Scottish accent here. Very lowland Scottish accent. A Highland Scottish accent does get a lot thicker, so that's the kind. It always gets portrayed as that, and I do feel pain. But well done to Troy Baker. Some people did point out that you've done an absolutely exceptional job with a southern accent. Well done on you. So that's basically the characters without going into major spoilers. Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson done a fantastic job. Joel and Ellie, the character development between those two is exceptional and done really well. This is how you do a father-daughter relationship, in my opinion. This is how they built it. They're not biologically father and daughter, but they built the connection over a period of time, because the game doesn't just continue on a long story, it actually jumps seasons. It goes from I think it's summer to spring to autumn to winter. It does that to get along the story. And that's what I love about it. It shows that their development has come a long way. Done really well. Really, really good. I love the character development. That's why this game is exceptional for what it is. The story may be cut and paste, but the development between Joel and Ellie is done really well. It may be a copy, it may be a thing you've seen before, but this one is done perfectly. Perfectly. I love that. I fucking love that. And now you notice I've been talking nearly 20 minutes on the characters, the story, and the universe, and not much on the gameplay. The gameplay, if you've played any Naughty Dog game like Uncharted, you'll recognise. The gameplay is good for what it is. It's not the greatest. There are problems. A couple of the controls are fine as is, but some instances it's a bit unresponsive in ways, and it's a bit of a pain in the ass. I'm not gonna lie, and it kind of drove me fucking nuts. Some of the controls, because you got killed a lot in this game, and it's a pain in the arse. I'm not gonna lie, because of two problems really. In the game, you will fight a variety of enemies with the combat. The combat is done really well, and in fact, I'll talk before I get to the enemies. I'll talk a bit about the combat and the system that it works. In this game, the combat is very. If you've played any Naughty Dog game, you'll know the controls like that. However, one great aspect of this game and the gameplay of it is scavenging. In this game, you will have to scavenge for supplies to build medikits, shivs, molotovs, smoke bombs, makeshift grenades. Which are basically like nail bombs, basically. And that's what you'll have to do in this game. You'll have to look through every nook and cranny. In this world, there isn't a fuck ton of ammo, a fuck ton of supplies. You'll have to pick and choose what you get in this game, because in this world, guns may be a good source of violence, but there's not a lot of ammo. You can't rely on one gun in this game. You get a nice wee arsenal of guns on you, but you can't rely on them because you don't get a lot of ammo in this game. Like, there are some parts of the game in which the game feels like it's throwing ammo at you. I know why I say what it is, because one part of the game where you're playing as Ellie, you actually do play as Ellie at one point in this game. I don't want to say what it is, but literally the game feels like it's throwing fucking rifle ammo at you like candy. And it feels that there's only a couple instances in that game, but in this game you will have to scavenge for bullets, rags, alcohol, and not to drink to make medical supplies. You can't get drunk in this game. Metal, blades, bandages, not bondages. You don't get S&M gear in this game, which would have been fucking hilarious, by the way. I would have loved to have seen an infected or go infected when they were doing an S&M gig. That would have been fucking hilarious. I'm kidding. But yeah. That's basically that. And if you're a type of gamer like me who scavenges for everything, like you look through every nook and cranny, you're like, where's it? Come on, there must be something inside this case. Fuck, there's nothing. Anything in this bottle. Fuck. Anything, come on. Where is it? Come on, in this case, anything in here. God damn it, nothing there. God damn, where the hell is the shit? That's the kind of gamer I am, because I will look through every nook and cranny to find shit. And if you're that type of gamer, you will find a shit ton of stuff in this. There are actually a lot of collectibles in this game that are hidden very well, and I found about half of them during my first playthrough. There are, as is, you will want to look through every nook and cranny in this game to get supplies, because if you don't, it's going to make the game a lot more harder than it actually is. Say that right now. Look through every nook and cranny, because you will need to. Okay, that's a scavenging game. It's kind of obvious within the post-apocalyptic builds, and that's what I say is this game does scavenging exceptionally well, minus a few points where it feels like it's throwing rifle ammo at you. But yeah, I will say it does a really good job in showing that this world you need to scavenge for, and it's done really good in that. I like the fact that you will have to look for supplies. Now, as I said, I've already talked about the enemies there. The main enemies you will come across in this game aren't the infected. It's humans. You will come across humans who basically want your shit, and this game does show that humans will actually do whatever it takes to survive and kill people, because you will come across a group of enemies that will basically want out to fucking kill you on sight to take your shit. That's basically it. The majority of the enemies you will fight will be humans. But that's what I like about this game, is because if it was just infected, it would get stale quite hard, because in the game you'll want to avoid infected, because the infected are fucking tough. I'll say that right now, and I'll get to them in a moment. You will come across more humans than you will infected. And there's a good reason for that, because the game wants to show how desperate people will get in a world like this. It wants to show that, and it shows it really well. I'll say that right now. It shows that people in this world will do anything to survive. And that means killing unarmed people. They'll do that. You're not unarmed. You actually see humans killing each other for food in this game. You also see an innocent woman being gunned down by a high caliber mounted machine gun for her shoes. That's what this game tries to show you, is that the worst type of thing in this world isn't the infected. It's the humans. The humans will fuck you over in this world, not the infected. The infected you can deal with. The humans, you're fucked. Because these humans are sick fucks. I'm not gonna lie, they are sick. But then, of course, we have to jump to the other enemy type, which is the infected. There are 3 types of infected. There's the standard runners, which are just people who have probably been infected for a couple of months to maybe a year or two. And they do have some growth from the infection with plant-like stuff coming out of their heads and certain parts of their body. So they are pretty far along in there, but not far along enough. And these ones are fairly simple to get rid of. You actually, all you need to do is really, you choke them out, you sneak up on behind them, you shoot them in the head, they're dead. The other type of enemy is a fucking asshole. That's what I call it anyway. It's called a clicker, and it basically is an enemy that is blind, and the infection can actually go to the point where it actually is growing like mushrooms out of its head, which is kind of fucking gross. But you actually, in this game, you have a feature where you can listen, and you actually have to listen for clickers, because clickers, if they grab you, they will kill you in one hit. You don't want you do not want a clicker grabbing you, because as soon as it grabs you, you're dead. It's an instant death. And as soon as you start hearing this, you get down on your legs and go, don't move. Because if they hear you, they come running and they will fucking slaughter you. They will kill you in one. It takes 2 shots to the head to kill these things. And let's just say Joe isn't the greatest with guns, and I like that, but I just want to say it quickly. Joe is shit with guns, but he knows how to use them. So that's just it. The gun will sway. You're not a fucking master marksman. But when you hear this, you better either do one of 2 things. Run like fuck, or stay quiet. Because as soon as you hear, you're fucked. Because clickers kill you in one hit. And that is basically a person who's been infected for years. Because it does take some time for the thing to grow. And it's like, and it'll kill you in one hit. As soon as it grabs you, it'll kill you. Now, you can get an upgrade later on in the game called Shiv Mastery, which will give you a chance, if it does grab you, to stab it in the face. Doesn't kill it, but it does give you a chance to stab it in the face and get the fuck out of there. Because as soon as a clicker comes anywhere near you, you're fucked. Now, the other type of infected is called a bloater, which is basically a person who's been infected for years, if not a decade or 2. If not since the start. Because it's basically a massive, the infection's got to the point where it's literally bloated as hell. It's basically, it's also blind. It uses the click, but it also has projectiles from the fungus that it grabs off its body and throws at you. And this enemy will also kill you in one hit. And I couldn't find an upgrade that would allow you to kill that if it grabbed you. Because as soon as that thing grabs you, it literally rips your head in half. I'll say about this game is brutal. But the blowers are the toughest enemies in the game, because of the fact that they are so fat, and no way to say it, bloated, that they are tough as hell to kill. And the best way I found to kill them is fire. You stock up on Molotovs in this game. I'm telling you right now, stock up on Molotovs. Because the infected don't like fire. Kind of obvious since they're plants. But you throw a Molotov at a blower, it stuns it, and you can unload into that motherfucker's head for at least a few seconds before you have to throw another Molotov. But just do not let a fucking blower get you. The game is not easy in that comes. If you see a clicker or a bloater, you do stealth. Because if you have the option, do stealth with the blowers and the clickers in this game. Because if you don't, you are fucked. If you try and run and gun through an entire room, because there are a couple of rooms in this game where you will come across a large group of clickers, and maybe even a couple of clickers and a blower. If you see that, you either do one of 2 things. 1, kiss your ass goodbye, or 2, stealth. Sneak. Do not take these things on head to head. You will die and lose. You cannot take on more than, at most, take on 2 clickers. 1, at least you stand a chance with. 2, you get lucky, you'll survive. 3, you're fucked. 1 blower, you're okay. 1 blower, tough, but you're okay. 2 blowers, you're fucked. A blower and 3 clickers, you're screwed. You might as well bend over and say, "On you go, infected, take me away." Because they're fucked, you're fucked. The enemies are brutal in this game. The infected are no joke. The runners are the easiest to kill, but of course, like most zombie games, in large numbers, they are very, very bad. Clickers and blowers are the worst in this game because they will kill you in one hit. Right off the bat. They will kill you in one. You get grabbed by a clicker, you get grabbed by a blower, you're dead. Okay? So don't run and gun in this game. However, there are some instances in the games in which you have to go up against blowers and clickers. No choice. you will have to fight your way through them or kill all of them. So there are going to be some instances now, but as it says, fire is your friend in this game. You get a flamethrower in this game, but you don't get it until very late on in the game. Molotovs are your friends. You keep them and you throw them like there's no fucking tomorrow. You have an option between making a medikit and a Molotov. If you know you're going to go up against a blower, Molotov. Right off the bat and just go, fuck, Molotov, 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 Molotov. Because trust me, blowers are no joke. I love them, by the way. I love the enemies. They're awesome. While I'll tell you right now, in this game I raged so many times getting killed by clickers and blowers, but I'm telling you right now, it never feels like it's their fault. It feels like it's my fault for not being prepared. So the game doesn't really, while you will rage at this, the game feels fair enough that you're not blaming the game, you're blaming yourself. So I like that. Excuse me. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I can comment on? The soundtrack in this game is exceptional. The soundtrack is very well done. Throughout the game you will hear soundtrack and all that played out. It's very subtle music. It isn't emphasised epic music. It's very subtle music. In fact, there are some points in the game in which you'll hear no music at all to build up the tension, and I love that. Very good use of music, and also very good use of no music, because sometimes less is more. And there's no music. At certain points when there's no music, it feels a lot better. It feels tense. It tries to make you feel relaxed, which you don't want to do, because then you're fucked. But I like that. The music is very well done in this game. So I've rambled on for long enough. Is The Last of Us worth it? I'm going to say this right now. This is a must-buy for any PS3 owner. And if you haven't bought a PS3, this is a reason to buy a PS3. Because this game is amazing. It is one of the best story games. And not the best game. I say the gameplay is your standard gameplay. Scavenge, kill, guns, that kind of stuff. But it's the characters, the story, and the universe that is very well done and makes this well. And by the way, it's a graphically stunning game as well. It looks amazing. I will say this right now, PS3 exclusives do look a lot better than Xbox exclusives. The game is exceptionally well designed, well thought out. There are some graphical bugs here or there, but overall the game is enjoyable. You will rage at it with the clickers, but right now I'll say it's worth it. This is worth picking up if you have a PS3, and it's worth picking up a PS3. This, in my opinion, is one of the best games to come out this year. I'm going to say this right now, while Troy Baker was in Bioshock Infinite, and that is a really good story game, this here is one of the best, is, in my opinion, a better game than Bioshock Infinite, sorry. I'm saying that right now. This is the best game that's came out so year, the best game I've played this year. It is very well done. And also, it does have a bit of replayability. There is a new Game Plus mode. But I would definitely say, if you haven't picked this up, go pick it up right fucking now. As soon as you leave this video, go buy it now. It is an amazing game and a must play in my opinion. Naughty Dog done an exceptional job on this. I'm going to say it right now. They've done an exceptional job. I highly recommend picking this game up. The Last of Us definitely gets... You know what? I'm busting this out. I haven't used it in a while. Give me a moment. It gets... Oh, fuck, I can't. I'm not going on this computer shit. It gets my seal of approval. It's worth it. Definitely go pick up if you haven't already. See, it's so good it made me sneeze. Definitely worth it. Go and play it now. Go buy it. Go get it. Go get a PS3 to play this game. This game is fucking amazing. I loved it. The story's really good. While, as I say, the story is a cut and paste job, it's a paint by numbers. Sorry, a paint by numbers story that's been done a million times before. It's done well enough with the characters that it is in this game that it's done justice. The story may be cut and paint by numbers, but the characters make this game worth it. Ashley Johnson, Troy Baker, if you're watching this, you've done a fantastic job, and please send me please let me know if you're coming to Scotland. I want you to sign this because you've done a really good job. So yeah, I think that's all I've got to say on it. Thank you for watching. 34 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, let me just say this now. Last of Us, is it worth it? Hell fucking yes. Go pick it up right now. And as always, I'm Scottish Warrior 92, and I'll see you all later. Ciao for now. I said stop.